Writing through that damn brick wall. Lesson 5. Learning how to learn.
And it seems nobody's interested in learning but the teacher.
What's intelligence? The experts tell us that that's a capacity to understand or comprehend knowledge. I'll take that. That's not my field of expertise. But I do know that some students can listen to a lesson and take notes and absorb a lot of that. Other students are visual learners, so they need images and pictures, and their brain absorbs that. And still others are tactile learners. They need to get their hands on things and need to manipulate things in order for the knowledge to sink in. Whatever form of learning that you're going to be doing, you're going to be taking that learning and putting it into your intelligence machine, and you're going to try to make it stick. That's learning. An active learner learns how to learn. A passive learner may be gaining knowledge, but they'll always be dependent on someone else to teach them something. Teaching yourself puts you on a good track in school and in your career. Your competition certainly isn't going to give you any good tips on how to get ahead. You got to snatch that shit for yourself. So understand the purpose of what you're going to learn. Why are you learning it? And what's it going to do for you once you've got it? Friedrich Nietzsche once said, if you understand the why of something, you can work through any of the hows of getting it done. Orient yourself. Ask questions to find out what materials and facilities are available for you to learn from. Then do your pre-learning. Look at your syllabus and find out what you're going to be taught. Then get the books and textbooks and look at the required readings. You don't have to read all of everything in most of the books. Then, once you know what you need to read them ahead of time. Most scholarly books use essay writing theory for their structure. That means each chapter has an introduction, body paragraphs with charts and pictures, and some kind of conclusion. That also means that the body paragraphs have topic sentences, body, and conclusion, probably with transitions. We can use that. Try this. See if it works for you. Have a highlighter or a pen in your hand. Whatever you're assigned to read, look at the pictures and charts first. Then you've got them out of the way. And you don't interrupt your reading by having to look at those charts and pictures while you're in the flow of your reading. Then read the intro paragraphs. There's probably one or two. That orients you to what you're going to be learning. Now, read only the topic sentences of each body paragraph. Any topic sentences that have words or topics that you don't understand, underline that. When you get to the conclusion, read all of it. That tells you what you were supposed to have learned and why it mattered. Okay, so you've just spent a couple of minutes going through the whole chapter. Now what you have left behind are the things that you really need to read. That's what you highlighted. When you read those, you're spending the time learning what you need to learn and not wasting time on the things that you're boring yourself with, telling yourself, I already know this, I already know this, I already know this. That is a study killer. Okay, so all you're doing is reading in the chapter the body paragraphs and the vocabulary, orienting yourself to it, that you need to learn. Stupid good use of time, right? You should have a notebook dedicated to each course, and that's where you take your notes. So in that notebook, write the vocabulary and the terminology and the concepts that you don't necessarily understand. Look up the vocabulary, look up the terminology, and then go to your professor or tutor and get help understanding the concepts that you've had trouble with. Keep this in mind. In that notebook, what you're building is all the things that you're weak in. So when it comes time for a quiz or a test, your notebook identifies for you and is very efficient for you to study from to do your best in that quiz or test. because there is no superfluous material in there. Be bold. Don't be surprised if people tell you that you're getting ahead of the class. Well, getting ahead is the whole freaking point, isn't it? Okay, you've done the reading, you've taken your notes, you've gotten clarification on the concepts and vocabulary that you don't understand. You go into class, and now you're using the professor as a review for what you've learned instead of a person who's introducing concepts to you for the first time and you're like the rest of the class just struggling trying to keep up. The rest of the class is taking notes on everything, writing down everything that's on the board. By the time they get back to their dorm, they're going to have the entire class to read over again. Some students even record the entire class. Doesn't make sense to me because the efficient way to learn is to look at what you don't know and don't worry about what you do know. This puts you in an active learner position where you feel good about your relationship to the class and the subject and the professor and your being in the moment. Now, I know that you're calling bullshit on me on this point, but all you have to do is give it a try and find out. Think about this process. You're orienting yourself to what you're going to learn. Then you're doing the reading and clarifying all the things that you need to know. Then you're using your professor as a review for what is, for everyone else, new topics. And then you've got your notebook efficiently filled with the material that you'll need to go over in order to do well in your tests and quizzes, and more importantly, in order to reinforce what you've learned in your mind months later. That's a process that you can take into your postgraduate career and your life to help you stay motivated, educated, and growing as a person. That also makes you a leader. Think about it. Power, money, and self-actualization. All good stuff. See you next class. Here's the supplemental sources I may or may not have mentioned in this class. Barbara Oakley, Learning How to Learn. Powerful mental tools to help you master tough subjects. Coursera.org. Again, I didn't actually mention this MOOC in the lecture, and it is a course by itself, so you may as well forget about it, right? Of course. Let your competition do the extra work. Let them get the corner office and the new car and the big house. You're just fine in that one bedroom praying your car will start on a cold morning so you can be browbeaten by your supervisor for 8 hours every day of your life. Relax. You're bound to hit the lottery eventually, right? When I reread this, I was going to revise it because the tone is so mean and sarcastic. Then I decided to leave it and use it as a teachable moment. I wrote it on very little sleep. I don't sleep well or much, so it affects my mood and patience. Don't be me. Be aware of the synergy between your body and your mind. Get your rest. Mean and sarcastic people don't make quality friends, and they lose out on a lot of wonderful moments in life. Getting proper rest, eating nourishing food, doing some exercise, all these are good for your brain and attitude. And if you can't fit this Coursera course in your schedule, that's okay. But do at least show up in it. Do the work to register, free, and watch the first video. It's a short video and you will have experienced a little bit of the course. Who knows? You just might find time going forward to catch a few more of its lectures. At the very least, you will have learned Coursera's registration process and how to audit courses for free. The course will stay open for you for a good while. You ought to become an active learner, but you don't have to become a frantic learner. I apologize if I push you too hard. It's okay to ease into greatness. As Max Ehrmann says in the Desiderata, many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. So that's the teachable moment. Avoid fatigue and habits unproductive to your success. And one last but important note on my sarcasm. Writing allows revision, allows you to make mistakes and then address them. This is not as fluid in conversation, and very often the damage is done no matter how you might try to backtrack. So take advantage of a second read like I did, though again, don't be me, and revise according to purpose and audience. This is also and especially true with texts and group emails. Read again before posting. Learning from consequences is no bueno. Okay, here comes the Lesson 5 quiz questions. Question 1. Is there really only one way to learn? Of course, there's not a single path to learning. Many people make great careers in the trade and construction industries without any college education. They didn't learn in a traditional classroom environment, though they probably had some form of mentor or teacher to help them build their skills. Lots of entrepreneurs run their own small businesses from self-motivated inspiration and a lot of book and internet research. Within the classroom, students learn from listening to lectures, watching presentations, and using their hands in labs of all sorts across campus. We learn from watching and listening, but also from social interactions. We learn alone, thinking things through, and we learn immersed in nature. Our amazing brains are always on. What is helpful to your learning is to pay attention to where you find learning the most fruitful and lean into that whenever possible. If you are a visual learner, as we all are to some extent unless we are sight challenged, you should lean into reading and writing and watching. Social learners may find it best to get into study groups and chew the fat of the day's topics. The first of the 3 Greek Delphic maxims on life is, know thyself. It ain't easy to get to know thyself, but it is something an active learner should pay attention to. Know how you learn best, and you've just made learning easier and faster. Go you, right? Question 2. Why the hell is it important to know why you are being taught a particular thing? Know why you are learning something, and you've just kicked open the door to free yourself of boredom and disinterest. If you were helping a friend fix a car and it was a hot day and a knuckle-busting, greasy job, you'd naturally be questioning your sanity. Until you find out that your friend is going to give you that car once it is running smoothly. No more bus for you? All in on the broken skin. I took calculus in high school and passed it, but it was lifeless and tiresome. I was made to take it again in college and failed once before passing. Still a drudge. But then I took calculus with physics, and we were tasked to compute the timeline for a journey to the moon. Suddenly, within the space of that assignment, I realized that calculus was all about acceleration and deceleration rates, among other things. My mind was blown. From then on, 6-page formulas meant something, and I was fascinated. Why are you learning to understand your purpose in writing? Why does what the audience expect matter? Why do research? Why use grammar rules? Why follow a structure? Lots of whys. As you discover the why, your motivation increases and things seem just a little more doable. Remember Nietzsche, know the why and you can grind through the how. But wait, there's more. This why thing is one of the keys to engaging your audience. Give them a why that resonates and they are ready to follow your presentation to its conclusion and in the working world, hopefully beyond, where payoffs and success await. Question 3. How can you use writing theory to make your reading more efficient and effective? Writing theory includes the concept of structure. Textbooks generally use the same structure you will use in writing your essays. Where can you find a synopsis of the big ideas for a chapter? In the opening 1 or 2 paragraphs. Read those, highlight the key words and concepts you feel shaky with, and you're ready to knock off the chapter quickly. Where is the main idea of a body paragraph? In the first or topic sentence. Read that, and you know whether the paragraph covers something you know or something you need to learn. What does a conclusion of a section or a chapter do? It reviews what you should have learned. If you highlighted or already knew the stuff in that summary review, you are golden to go back and read only the paragraphs that contain new learning. Skip what you already know. Finish with quality notes in half the time of a learner who slogs through every word of the chapter. Keep an eye on how textbooks are structured just for the sake of learning how to write as well. These textbooks are written by professionals and edited by more people than you would think is necessary. Trust me, I know. So if you can pick up on how these writers use keywords in their topic sentences and how they expand on those keywords, if you can see how these writers build their body paragraphs with evidence supported by research, if you can catch how they close a paragraph and transition to the next topic, then you've seen the Matrix and are ready to fly. You'll still have to practice, but you can put your fist to the sun, crouch for the spring, and take flight, probably like a newborn butterfly at first, but eventually like a peregrine falcon. Don't invent the wheel to build a car. Use what others have proven to be successful and build on that, and then make it yours. Nothing will ever be perfect, so, as Salvador Dali says, have no fear of perfection. You'll never reach it. Get it and go. Question 4. What should you highlight when you're reading a text? Highlight or underline things you don't know and things you don't feel fully confident about. Doing this makes it easier to go back and read with focus on the learning process only, without spending time on what you already know. Once you've read the textbook's explanations, if you still have questions, the internet or the school librarian awaits. Don't underrate your library staff. You got issues, they got tissues. They'll find what you need and be eager about your success, and they will gladly introduce you to the school's online databases where a wealth of topic-specific materials sits like a dragon's treasure chamber glittering with knowledge. If you've done your due diligence and you still need clarity, go to the lab, if there is one dedicated to your topic, or visit your professor. Professors love good questions. They'll welcome even lazy questions most of the time because they want you to feel that their door is open to you. But if you've done your research and come in with a wicked interesting question, the places your teacher will be willing to go. Take notes through this entire process in your course-dedicated notebook so that you can easily review for quizzes and tests. You feel me? Do you? I'm talking about taking control of your learning process. No more, my teacher's awful, or my class is boring. You can be a lit, high-watt bulb using low energy. Remember, my purpose is low-bar stuff, trying to help you pass a composition course. But if you try to incorporate even a fraction of these self-study skills into your routine, you're going to surprise yourself how great you can be. There's a C+ or B- out there waiting for you. Just kidding. Always shoot for the A. If shit happens during the semester, you'll drop to a B most likely. But if you aim for a C and things go awry, that D in a core class means do-over, out of your own coin purse. Question 5. How does pre-learning change the nature of your classroom experience? Using the process of pre-learning, where you survey your class schedule and do the reading ahead of time and clarify as much as you can before that class, changes everything about your classroom experience. First, you're not a deer in the headlights type student being exposed to material for the first time and missing key points in the lecture while trying to focus on the endless notes for all this bewildering shit. You're prepped and following the lecture using the professor as a review instead of an introduction. Second, the class may be lost, but you're on point and energized, perhaps waiting for those last few tidbits of unknowns to come up for you to raise that hand and get full access to an expert in the field. The class will welcome your having paused the onslaught of information so they can take a breath and catch up on their notes or their phone text messages if they aren't really into the class all that much. Third, you'll experience being that person the class hates, the one with good questions who takes the teacher off into tangents The others have no chance of following. You need to get used to being the outlier, the one who is trying to excel. Why do you need to get used to this? Because if you get into graduate school, the entire class will be overachievers, and you will understand where they are coming from. You will understand that wildly motivated audience sharing a classroom with you, and you won't feel unwelcome. What you will feel is competition, fierce competition. Graduate school is where the real blood and sweat is shed. Undergrad is a piece of cake by comparison. If you don't believe me, ask anyone with a master's or doctorate. So, ultimately, learning to pre-learn your lessons begins the process of packing your toolkit for graduate-level learning. And learning to be resented for being the radical learner is part of climbing the ladder of success in the world. You'll leave a lot of passive learners behind in school, and then hire the good ones as employees when you're building your future. Go kick some ass and take some names. Extra credit. Do the production values in the video still underwhelm you? Yes, good God Almighty, yes.